welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name is Caitlin, and today I thought I'd show you guys what is in my toolkit. So toolkit for machines, maintenance, and different accessories that I have for my machines. So in my recent uploads, I'm going to be talking about my domestic machines as well as my industrial machines. So this is kind of to supplement all of that information as well. So if you've come from those videos, this will definitely help you out. So first I'm going to go through some of the accessories that I have for my machines. This is not totally necessary items that you should have in your toolkit, but it just helps you do different things, especially with your machines that are a little bit more versatile. So something that I bought, this is actually from Amazon. This is a big teddy foot accessory kit. And it came with, I think, 15 different feet options. So there's a low shank adapter, an all-purpose or zigzag foot, a buttonhole foot, satin stitch, quilt or straight stitch, button foot, button sewing on foot, so for like actual sewing on the button, zipper foot, hemmer, rolled hem, blind stitch, cording, overcast, 1/4 inch patchwork, darn foot, low shank, gathering foot, and walking foot. So all of these were included in this kit. It even came with a little kind of manual, so it's got a photo and a description of each foot, what it's used for. And then it came in this little kit. I haven't used too many of these, but I think the original reason why I bought it was for the blind hem foot. Like so. I don't know if you can see the white background there. This one is great to have if you're doing garment sewing, as well as a zipper foot, which I think the type of zipper foot in here is like a clip-on foot. Not my favorite style because of this really wide base on it. This can get in the way of the zipper. So not my favorite. I do like the clip-on one better. But for someone starting out, or even like a Christmas gift or birthday gift for somebody like starting in sewing, this is a great thing to have. I don't remember how much this was. I'll see if I can see if this is still available, because I got this a long time ago. I'm sure something similar is, but just on Amazon. Then I have my own kit that I've put together. I really love these hardware divider cases from the dollar store. I have so many of these. Oof, they're kind of hard to open. Okay, there we go. So in here I have some more feet. So I have some other buttonhole feet that I've collected over the years. This one's for my Kenmore. This one is for binding. This one I also got on Amazon, but it's adjustable, so you can just move the little screws on it and move it to whatever size binding that you're using. I have some more feet here. I have a Teflon foot, so if you're using like a stretch material or some kind of like vinyl faux leather type thing, this will help glide across the material. An invisible zipper foot, it's always great to have as well. And I think that's it in terms of domestic sewing machines. I also talked about in my other video the buttonhole Kenmore kit that I have for my Kenmore sewing machine. So if you want to see what that looks like, you can check out that video. I haven't used it yet, so I'm not totally sure how it works, but I'm sure it is very helpful. I think the rest of the things I have in here are either for my industrial machines or for kind of maintenance type things, so I'm going to go through those now. So for my industrial machines, I do have a collection of feet, and sadly this is a bit of a graveyard of feet. My industrial machine, if you watch that video, I made a video recently about like introducing my other machines. I don't know why this machine is like this. I honestly didn't even see it until I had someone maintenance it, but the needle moves, and I don't mean just like up and down. It like moves like this as the fabric is moving, so it's kind of like a walking foot machine, but it's not. I'm not sure if it's just the model that this machine is or what. It did originally come from someone who used it for upholstery, so maybe that's why. I'm not sure if it was modified to be like that or if they purchased it like that. I have no idea. This machine kind of came to me and that's the way it is. But my feet don't work because the needle moves. So I have a beautiful invisible zipper foot. The regular feet work fine, just a regular industrial foot, no problem. I have a Teflon foot as well. I have a right and left zipper foot as well, which are so versatile. Cannot use them because the little space where the needle needs to go through doesn't match where the needle moves. Who would have thought? So yeah, I own them. The reason why I have them is because in school we had to purchase our own kit. So when we would go into our sewing class and, you know, it was our lab time, we had to put our own feet and equipment onto the machine to even use it. So that's why I have these in the first place, but they just don't work on my machine. To be honest, I have not found feet that work for that machine. I've looked at different suppliers online and they just have the traditional feet. It's not something I've reached out to a sewing mechanic or maintenance person to ask about, because likely if I need to sew in a zipper, like I'll do it on my domestic machine and I get, you know, by fine. It does get a little bit tricky. I was sewing a newly upholstered couch. We basically made a couch this past summer and I was going to do it on my industrial machine. It's much faster. And then I realized I couldn't sew on the piping properly because I couldn't use the foot. And it was not easy. I'm not going to talk about that one. I also have some finger guards. So this was also something that was required by our sewing class in school because people, I guess there had been a short period of time where a bunch of people had sewn into their finger. I don't really use these anymore. I used to. I got used to them being there, but I've since taken them off and now I just have them. For someone new, definitely recommend, especially if you don't have control of that foot yet. I also have one here. I don't remember what this is called, but it's to help the material flow. I've never tried it. It's good for stretch materials on industrial. And I have 4 of these casings, kind of like a regular domestic front-loading casing. They're a little bit different though. And I have a bunch of screws for the foot as well as the needle, which they're super tiny, little. What else do I have? Okay, so for maintenance, threading, or just like general use, highly recommend having lots of tweezers on hand. These are super helpful. And all different sizes are helpful too. So if you can get your hands on like a little kit like this, where there's a bunch of different points and shapes on them, this is super helpful if you have a lot of different machines. If you have an overlock or something, typically those are a little bit harder to thread, so tweezers help. There's also ones that are like this, where you have to squeeze in order to open them. So they're kind of opposite, but it's good for holding the thread as you're trying to guide it somewhere. I think that's it for tweezers. And then another good thing to have are screwdrivers. So needle screws, foot screws, you just need to have these to be able to get in there and take those out and tighten them. You always want to make sure those pieces are tight while you're sewing. When the machine's kind of like jiggling a bit over time, they might get a little bit loose, and that's often when a needle breaks, kind of falls and snaps, or to keep your foot in place. These are super helpful. Also think about the length of screwdriver you have. So I have ones of all different kind of lengths. I don't know where they went, but I had some other ones that are really long. Sometimes you need those to reach in behind and tighten something, but as long as you have some of these, you should be golden. Okay, and the next thing you might need, depending on your machine, is Allen keys. You might need imperial or metric, but sometimes machines, especially industrial, might use these to hold in their needles. So just take a look at your machine. Sometimes overlock machines too, I've found, hold in their needles with Allen keys, so just make sure you have the right size on hand. Okay, so for threading, I have 2 things in my kit. These I don't really need to use for my industrial or my domestic machines, but for my serger, it's a good thing to have. My serger is really easy to thread, but in the past I've had some more difficult machines or at work as well. So this is a little Singer loop threader. It has a little blue handle, and it's kind of a little curved loop, and on the end it has a little loop that you can pull your thread through, and then you use this to pull everything. If you can't find something like that, these little threaders from Gum, which they're used for your teeth, like the Gum like tooth brand, these little blue threaders are super good too. So you just put your thread through the loop here and use this to go through the areas that you need. So if you can't access this like special sewing one, these work really well too. They're really good if you have like braces or a retainer, but use them for sewing too. And the last thing I will recommend is some kind of blade or pick. So this is kind of like a dental pick, and this holds like a razor blade knife, like a surgical blade. One of these guys. This, you probably don't need this kind of thing for a regular kind of domestic machine, maybe not your industrial machine, maybe a overlock or cover stitch machine or other like industrial machines. But if you're prone to blocking your machine or causing a big thread kind of knot to accumulate, there's probably something wrong with your machine, but these are super helpful to get those out. I really like this pick because you can really like get the knots out, especially if it gets wrapped around your needle plate. And the blade is really helpful if you need to just cut it out, along with tweezers and things to pull all the threads out. So these maybe you don't need for everyday use for your regular machines, but if you're doing a lot of industrial sewing, I find that these help. Okay, so for tools, that's what I have in my kit. Some other things I have, I'll show you just to finish things off. So I have a little container here that I put my sharps in. So right now I've not accumulated that much, but these are for broken needles, bent needles, broken safety pins or grommets that didn't work, things like that. I just keep it in here. I'll probably just fill it up until it's full, and then I will safely dispose of those. Machine oil. So for maintenancing your machine, it's good to know where you need to put machine oil. For your industrial machines, you probably need a big like container of it. I do have a video where I replace the oil in my industrial straight stitch. We used quite a bit. Highly recommend just filling to the minimum line, because you can always add more when it's needed, but you don't need to fill to the max. But for your domestic machines, it's good to have one of these with like a little nozzle, so you can get in directly where you need to. So this is good to do on your machine. This is just regular sewing machine oil. It says ideal for lubricating metal parts of sewing machines, overlock, home appliances, and sporting equipment. This is, does it say anything about it specifically? No. This I think I got from Fabricland when I lived in Ontario, but I'm sure you can find this on Amazon or other sewing machine places. But this is good to have to keep in your kind of maintenance plan. And then something fun, dust blaster. This is good with the little nozzle. This is good for cleaning out your machine. So you want to make sure that you clean out all those dust and accumulated pieces of fibers that have kind of built up inside your machine. Especially with an overlock, it's going to build up faster because you're actually cutting the material. With your sewing machine, you're probably not getting that accumulation as much, but definitely a good thing to do. So you want to learn what pieces of your machine you need to take apart to get inside to clean it out. It's really good to know that and where to put your oil. So clean it out, replace the oil, put everything back, and then your machine should be very, very happy. A buildup of all that stuff can really make your machine unhappy and start to break down the pieces inside. So you want to make sure that you're doing that on a regular basis. So yeah, those are all the tools that I like to keep in my kit, along with the accessories for maintenance, foot screwdrivers, all those types of things. Really good to have. It's something you can kind of accumulate over time. You don't need all of these things when you start out, but it's just good to have on hand. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. If there's anything specific you'd like me to see using or try out, I can maybe film that in the future. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!